So, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of W.A.G.E. We're having an emergency meeting tonight because we're in a state of emergency as it relates to education. There's some new things going on. There were some new articles that came out today, and we think that it's really important that the parents are abreast, and not just parents, right? But the community in general. There's a school board election coming up. More money is wanted, and we want to know where the money is going already that they're getting, right? And so we're going to have this conversation tonight, and we're going to bring an educator on board to join this conversation. Many of you may know her as Sharonda Allen. She's both the founder and executive director of Operation Grow. So she's going to be joining us this evening. We're happy to have her on board. And we're also going to start to pull more parents and community members into our show to make sure that we have an understanding and a direct connection to the constituents here. We're going to put faces to who the parents are. The parent we're going to have with us tonight, a dad. He's raised 4 kids here, and he's going to weigh in with his thoughts and ideas on what can also happen in education to help to make sure that we as a community, and not just an urban community here in Newark, but in this nation as a community, do what we need to do, organize and pull together to ensure, even if we believe that it is an educational system that is failing our children, that we give them the most preparation possible for the most success possible in their futures. Thank you, and hope you guys enjoy the show tonight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Like this. Baby, you a heart stopper.
Woke up in my city, yeah, I feel like Big Papa. I feel like Big Papa.
Nah, nah, nah. You gotta go like this, and like this. Baby, you a heart stopper.
Woke up in my city.
Okay, so welcome back. We're here and we're about to get started without any further ado. I want to bring to you Miss Sharonda Allen. Sharonda, hello. Are you here with us yet? Okay, so I think Miss Sharonda has some little technical difficulties. We will bring her back when she's ready, but we do have Bruce Jeffers here with us this evening. Bruce, hello.
What's kicking, chicken?
What's Bruce,
Oh man, you got me on Front Street. It's all right.
Bruce, I got you on Front Street tonight. Listen, we're here to have this conversation. Thank you for joining us. Listen, you're a dad. We grew up together. You know, you're a couple years older than me, but you know what I'm saying? I look up to you growing up. I love you. Thank you for being here. Just to weigh in on a dad tip. And you can tell the audience a little bit about yourself if you want to.
Just a Newark citizen. Keep it light.
Yeah.
Been here since birth, since inception. Grew up Grafton Avenue Projects.
Absolutely.
Still on the north side. I've been in the north side for all of my life. Moved out a couple of times, but of course I come back home. But
so always
just here to seek what's going on and help as much as I can.
Right. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to start to make sure the parents and people from the community are actually the ones that are weighing in and that are having these conversations. And with that being said, I want to bring on Miss Sharonda Allen. Hello, Sharonda.
Hello, Sheila. Hello, Bruce.
Hey.
Hello to the listening audience. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Evening we're having. Beautiful spring evening.
Absolutely. It's absolutely amazing. So listen, we thank you. I thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. We're going to be talking about a really important issue, especially with you and your background as being an educator. You know how important education is. Not only have you dedicated your life to it, right? Because education is a solution. It's not the only solution, but it is a solution. What motivated you to dedicate your life to education? If I could just start there. And what also motivated you to start Operation Grow?
Well, you know, when I was a kid, I grew up an only child in the house, and I used to read my red encyclopedias from cover to cover. I used to love it. I loved learning. I used to read my National Geographic magazines, and because when I was a young kid, somebody said people only use a small percentage of their brain power, and I was like, what? They said like 15%. I was like, no, I'm going to use 50%. So I used to always try to learn as much as I could to try to put a lot of information into my head and know everything that I could know because it was like there was so much to know. Once you felt like you knew this, there's just still always so much to go deeper into. So I
Right.
always tried to learn, and I just wanted to get other children, you know, people who look like me to grow up and to know a lot of things because one of the best ways to mistreat people or pull the wool over their eye is for them to be ignorant or not know things and not be
Absolutely.
aware and not know depth and detail. And I think that sometimes in our community, we don't go deep enough with the right stuff. We
Mm.
like to bask in frivolity, which I'm so over. It's keeping us back. It's keeping us down. So that's what I love about education. When I saw that I was able to help some young ladies years ago, back in 90 something, like 98 or something, I was able to help some young ladies step them through the process of going to college. So
Right.
I was
Right.
like, hey, I was one of the schools. I said, Shabazz, as a matter of fact. I said, what college
Right.
y'all going to? They were like, we're not going to college. I said, why? They said, we can't afford it. I
Right.
said, what?
Right.
Hey,
And I'm glad you
if you
brought that up because that happens a lot. Like our children are so smart and they have so much potential, but they won't even go to college unless they get encouraged by parents, educators, somebody from the community. It's just not even a vision in their mind. So, Shamana, just my hats off to you. Thank you for that. I want to dive right into some of this. Like I said, it's just an emergency situation I think we're experiencing right now, and I'm gonna hear your thoughts and as well as Bruce's thoughts on what I'm about to share with you guys. There was an article that just came out, right? And I want to share this with you. The article that came out today, and I'm gonna bring this up right now. Very scary situation, right? And it says scary. Vast majority of Newark's third graders can't read. Okay, this is incredible. Cannot read. Third graders that can't read. Students who are not reading at grade level by the end of third grade are more likely to struggle academically. I think we both know as educators this is definitely true. They have a chart here, right? Number of third graders in the West Ward who can't read on grade level. Look at the numbers. The numbers tell you for themselves. This is a combination of West Ward, South Ward, Central Ward, East Ward. Again, I say look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Number of students on third grade level. Number of third graders in the East Ward who can and can't read on grade level. Look at the numbers. These numbers are beyond alarming. These numbers are catastrophic. And I'm going to tell you something else. This dictates where our generation, the upcoming generation of our young people, our leadership, our community, this is showing us a scary situation. And if I can, I like to just stroll down a little, just to read a little bit of this. Um,
mm-hmm.
in Newark's Rafael Hernandez School in the North Ward, only 3 third graders out of 50
Mm.
passed a state reading exam. At Hawkins Street School in the East Ward, the numbers were 4 out of 54 third graders. At Avon Avenue School in the South Ward, it was 2 out of 61 for a third grade proficiency rate, and there was 3%. Third grade scores recently released by the New Jersey Department of Education suggest a dire literacy problem in each of Newark's wards. I'm just going to read this last portion. Only 19% of the city's third graders passed the last year's state reading exam. I'm going to read that again. Totally alarming. Only 19% of the city's third graders, the whole city, all the wards inclusive, passed last year's state reading exam. The performance was the lowest of any grade in Newark. At 9 Newark schools, the percentage of third graders passing the English exam was in the single digits for all grades. Newark's literacy, passing rate was 27% last year. Now, when we talk about solutions, right? And we talk about what could be done to change this, right? Because we don't want to dwell on the problems. This is a problem. And what the overall thing is that they're saying is this happened from COVID. Stop it. Stop it. We're not going to blame COVID for the entire city not knowing how to read. And I want to start with Bruce first as a dad. Bruce, when you hear those numbers, when you see that article, what first comes to your mind? What are you thinking as a dad?
Staggering to say the least. Catastrophic, like you said, but at the same time, I'm just thinking of all distractions. I'm thinking of all things encompassing from a standpoint of where their attention lies. Of course, we have to more or less compare it in a comparative nature to where we were and when we were
Right,
growing up, and
right,
which a lot of the generational gaps, and they can't really get with that, because you got one generation that don't show respect, and you got one generation that don't want to show respect in reference to what we've been through in the past. We don't want to let the past go, but at the same time, so one versus the other, whatever. But
right.
in reference to a lot of it's just an alarming rate of distractions. It
Yeah,
really is.
I agree. Lots of distractions. Sharonda, would you like to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I want to say that it's a cultural breakdown in the community itself when we're just looking at third graders, but it's an overall problem where the leadership is focused on the wrong stuff. They're doing the wrong things. It's like it's worse than the Wild Wild West because at least there was New Frontier. This is a city that's been around since at least 1666. And how is it that we have such failure? Well, I did mention on another location, another venue that yeah, there's a lot of neurotoxins in the water. So the young people are contaminated with lead. So of course they're learning delays and things. But at the same time, we have to look at parents who came out of the same system, but we got to break generational curses. And the parents have to create these academically rich home environments so that the young people should even know sight words. There's certain books that the kids should have memorized and known the words from being read bedtime stories at night. How many of them have been read to at night? That's not something corny. There's a rhyme and reason. It's a bonding experience. It's a literacy experience. It's a cognitive experience. It should be a cultural experience. I always do book fairs where I'm like, get black books for your black kids because that's another problem when they don't see themselves in higher spaces and places. It's difficult for them to think academically and intellectually. Anti-intellectualism has been the order of the day for our people, unfortunately. So we have to understand that the parents, regardless of what the school is doing, parents have to step in and do their part, and
Right.
they have to do something new and different than what they've been regularly doing because we are in crisis.
I love what you just said. I love just on so many levels, and it's true. And I think that a lot of parents really kicked up during COVID because there was a lot of lives that I would see on social media that parents looked like they had a classroom inside of the house, and I think that we really have to get there and stay there. Um, Again, there's no way an entire this is I can barely absorb this that an entire city and so these young people, right? They grow up to become tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's voters, tomorrow's people
Or,
who are looking for
or,
jobs without
or,
skills because they're not even introducing the trades into our schools anymore.
yeah, but think about it. Or they get into the pipeline to prison. Because we want them to be leaders, but guess what? When gentrification fully kicks in, they're not going to be able to lead anything, especially if they can't read, write, or comprehend or cipher. So they'll be in the prison industrial complex.
Right.
So we
And
got to understand how intense this is.
facts, absolutely. And even if it's not the pipeline, the school to prison pipeline, we're talking the school to poverty pipeline. Because how do you make money for yourself and feed yourself if you cannot read or write? Secretary job, even Amazon, you got to read the packages. You have to be able to read. And from somebody that was working, I have, a passing, working at the collegiate level, right? Most of the incoming freshmen were on third, fourth grade, fifth grade reading level.
Hmm.
And I remember going to college, you had to take an entrance exam. You couldn't even get into college if you was functioning on that level. But right, it's a capitalistic society. Everything is about money, and people get in, and even if they can't pass, hey, at least now we got you in debt.
Yeah, they make an industry out of college loan debt.
Right, right,
Oh, that's number one. That is the number one debt solution from, I mean, you trained up to it, and from the 18-year-old that comes out, from the picket fence mentality of getting a job and doing 40 years and retire. That's just the way that's a design. And it
wow.
has been for years, 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 years.
But no, but when I was younger, you could go to college for free. That's what I was saying about helping those young ladies. I said, no, if you don't have money, you can get funding. Every one of those girls that I helped, they explored colleges, got into college. They all graduated. I've seen each of them years later, and they said thank you. They didn't know they could go until I told them, and I helped them. I coached them. I held their hand through the entire process. But the difference was that they believed it as well, and they believed me when I told them, and they stuck with me, and they met with me every day, and we worked on college admissions. And I think things have gotten different. We got to understand something too. We've had these whole school reform models to come through, and they have come in and allowed people to experiment on our children all over urban areas because they say, oh, they failing, so they need something. Well, they were hungry, some of them. Some of their parents were struggling. So that gets in the way of academic achievement. But now we have a broken down educational system. Their parents were, subjected to whole school reform models. And where are those models now? What did they really
Absolutely,
do?
absolutely.
Nothing.
We
They hurt
and
us.
we've had a repeated cycle of people coming in here, right? Have getting contracts, giving prescriptions when they never even diagnosed what the problem is. Now, Sharonda,
Mm,
you in another I'm sorry, Bruce. I'm gonna
no, no, no. I'm listening.
yeah, I want to I would like Sharonda to hit on another piece also that I think is really relevant to this academic situation we're dealing with in terms of climate. Sharonda, can you share with us some of your background dealing with climate and what you think that some of these problems may also be inclusive of?
Yeah, so I am the chapter co-chair for the Greater New Jersey Gateway Climate Reality Project, trained by Al Gore. I'm also the environmental justice co-chair for Tri-County Sustainability. I am also the youth committee chair for Greater New Jersey Gateway. I'm an activist and speaker for Extinction Rebellion New York City and my nonprofit Operation Grow as we deal with human, economic, social, and environmental sustainability. We do a lot of environmental work where we're doing climate art and climate activism, helping with legislation. But with all the involvement that I have with climate change and climate impacts and environmental justice, we have to understand the air quality, the soil quality, these buildings that these slumlords are renting out to the people and that the children live in with the lead paint and the asbestos and all the neurotoxins and everything and the dioxin in their areas where they live and how much that impedes their learning and their cognitive development. So people think that climate activism is some leisurely activity for people of another race. No, we need to also be involved. And I have been welcomed for all these years that I've been involved with it. I've been welcomed in to see someone who is actually a frontline, overburdened person in these communities. And it just so happens to quote unquote be about race because there's a lot of environmental racism involved. But our people need to start waking up and start focusing on the real issues and start working towards solutions. And these problems of the water and the air and everything and the soil and the buildings and all the chemicals and the bomb trains and the bomb trucks that we need to be writing to our, more I've written, we've helped to, get things stopped. I actually got a resolution passed in my municipality in East Orange that we do not want bomb trains and bomb trucks coming through with LNG, liquid natural gas, you know, coming through. And just like in Ohio, when it exploded, I mean, it becomes like an atomic bomb. It's a bomb train or bomb truck. And he started at the crossroads of, the Garden State Parkway and Interstate 280. And, you know, most of the things on this eastern corridor, they're cutting through New Jersey. We
Absolutely.
turnpike. So it's so important for our people to be concerned and involved in these things. And all those issues have so many impacts on the children. And like I said, their cognitive development and their intellectual capacities.
Right. And with that being said, that's a great segue into another article that also came out today. And I find it, and Sharon, I didn't have a chance to speak to you earlier, but I find it very strange, right? Or just odd at best that these are issues that were talked about last night on the show. And both of these made news this morning. So what we're talking about right now, projects that expose communities of color in New Jersey to more pollution must be axed under new rules. Why in 2023? I remember when they were building Route 78 over there off Urban Turner. There were studies done then. They knew that that was going to cause severe brain function with young kids. They knew that there were studies done, and they still went ahead with that project anyway. So I just want to just go over this a little bit, and I'll come to you first to get your thoughts about this, Dad, Dad Bruce. And so basically, I just want to know what you guys think. Projects again exposed to the communities of color in New Jersey. How do they make a distinction with that? But it goes on to say, Paulsboro is among communities listed as overburdened by New Jersey's new environmental justice law. Okay, so just really quick, we're talking about Phil Murphy here. We're talking about Raymond Brown Park. On Monday, after delays to the collective sigh of the relief of New Jersey environmentalists, the rules of the environmental justice law meant to safeguard communities in the state against health impacts of pollution were finalized and adopted finally. If it's more there to read, I guess we have to click on something. I don't see it.
Well,
But
let
yeah.
me add
Go
to
ahead,
that.
Front. Yeah, that's fine. I'm on a learning curve, y'all. So I never done one of these before, but I'm intrigued.
That's what we're
Go
gonna
ahead.
start bringing parents in, Bruce. So we want
Mhm.
us. We got to work together. And if the mountain can't go to Muhammad, Muhammad gonna go to the mountain. If I said that right.
If
It's a lot of
Muhammad don't
hymns.
go
I'll
to
take it.
the mountain will come to Muhammad.
That part.
That's a
So let me say
mouthful,
real quick,
but
we have environmental justice law in New Jersey, but it's not being observed. And one of the things where, people are talking about new projects, Covanta is trying to build a new incinerator. And of course, these pollutants in this particulate matter, is so airborne. And even, with the East Ward of Newark, down Neck, the Ironbound section, the air is different. The sky is a little cloudier because of all the different trucks. Like I'm about to go to a truck counting event one day this week as part of, the environmental justice, fight and everything. And, imagine if more of the parents whose children were heavily impacted on this stuff would participate in this. It's not a secret. It's just a matter of wanting to know what the information is, where to go to participate. I'm in stuff. It wasn't a magic wand that I used. It was because I've been interested for many years, and I've been in a lot of things for many years. And there's people are pulling me into everything now. So it's a matter of will. It's a matter of desire to participate and put the effort out, and to know that our children are the ones who are more heavily impacted. It's like our people got to wake up, and we got to get involved. Whatever else we've been focused on, they need to change their focus and get on this stuff and speak up.
I agree. And with so many issues with asthma, with so many respiratory situations that go on, I don't know more parents are not get involved in on the ground. Bruce, you want to add anything to that?
but my question is to you guys: is hope crushed? Is the fulfillment to make an effort and a non-going factor at this point? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of parents that are just not active with their kids. From a standpoint of going to school, coming home, your job is done. It is what it is. By the time that kid gets 18, this is what it is. Go get your financial aid situation going on, and you good to go. So a lot of it is, a little political for me. But from a standpoint of what I'm seeing, it's like all hope is shot. in their comfort zones are comforted, and nobody wants to like to do something either different or to get out of that comfort zone. And it's just alarming to say the least, you know.
Okay,
So
you made a really good point, and I know for a fact it's a good point because I know a lot of parents feel exactly what you said. Like, the hope is not there. People feel beat down. Like, I get it, right? But this is the thing: when you talk about feeling comfortable, people are not feeling comfortable, right? When they don't have money to pay their bills, people are not feeling comfortable, right? When if a child is going to school and they can't read or write, there's no security that says, okay, this child is going to be out of your house at 18. Because how can they be
right,
independent, to take care of themselves at 18? They're still going to be, independent, not independent. They're still going to be dependent, if I'm saying this right, dependent on the parents. Because how can they be independent if they have no means of taking care of themselves? I remember just in, when we travel around, when I recently ran for mayor, I remember a lot of the young people were making inquiries about jobs. And I was like, well, well, what do you know how to do? And they couldn't respond to that. They was just like, I just want a job. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't register to them that you just don't get a job. Like, you have to do something, right? The country is built up on trade. I trade this skill, you get money for it. And that was just not, a concept. So I don't know how comfortable it is when we need somewhere to stay, somewhere to live. We need food to eat. We need so many things, right? That cost money. Um, I just don't know why people are ignoring that. Now, I want to just show you, just shout out to somebody who was very dear to me, really quick. If I can just share the screen with a friend of
What?
mine.
Real quick, Sheila, I just said add something real quick. I know you segued, but
Oh, wait, give me 1 second. I just want to just shout out a really good friend, Sharonda.
okay.
A friend passed away, Al Mal, and I just want to, just shout him out this evening because Al Mal was a great guy, graduate of Shabazz with me, friends since we were younger. Also, he was one in our community that definitely was about making sure that a lot of our young people who came home, that they had a job. He trained people to become barbers,
mm,
right? He was able to take that trade and do some wonderful things with it. And I also, just sidebar real quick, want to shout out Omar Towns from Cut Creators, because even as a young person, when I was working at the pre-college program at Essex County, Mazik, may he rest in peace.
mm,
Zeke, um,
wow,
Omar, they always, Sheila, what you doing? We got you. We got you. And whatever kids, we did a fashion etiquette show there every summer. They always not only cut the kids' hair for free, did the girls' hair for free. They also showed the kids, anybody who was interested, they pulled them in to show them the trade of cutting hair. And, so rest in peace to Mazik, rest in peace definitely to Al Mal. And, just big up to Omar, because Omar is still to this day doing infomercials on social media to get people in to learn how to, grow their business and cutting hair. So this is what's needed, but a few people can't do this on their own. Even in cutting hair, you still have to learn to read and write. You're getting checks, you got to learn how to sign the back of them and not print your name. And Sharonda,
right.
Sharon, I didn't mean to cut you off early, but I did want to just finish that thought, because those are some lives that really touched me. And we really lost one. We lost a jewel in Newark when we lost Al Mal.
I just want to add that I would like to say that when Lamazik died, the party died. I mean,
Wow.
died, life was different in our area. Nobody dressed up anymore. Nobody people
Mm,
weren't walking around with pride in themselves. I'm telling you, that's when that was the turning point. People talk about 9/11. This no, when Lamazik died, the party ended,
The party
and
ended.
communally speaking, yeah.
really speaking, the party ended. And because I remember he would always say, "I just want to make sure everybody have a good time." And I used to love when he said that.
And he was about that. Like I said, he would always reach out to our community, always. And we have gotten
Right.
away from that. I remember even like if I was coming through, was he like, Sheila, we about to do this. What you think about this? What you think about that? Like, you know,
Yeah.
and if I would give him an idea on something, I swear the next time I see it, he would be off it. Like, Sheila, what you think? What you think? But he would do that with everybody because he just
Yep.
loved the community. He just wanted everybody to feel important. He wanted everybody to feel like they was a part of whatever was going on. And he was such an idea person. I remember
Yeah.
when he wanted to bring jazz downtown. I think that was it next to the Naughty by Nature store, or did he take over the Naughty by Nature store? I don't remember which one it was.
Mm.
But Zeke was one of a kind, and we need that more than ever now because we have
Yes.
so much individualism, right? Everybody's like me and mine, me and mine.
I hate that.
Yeah, and those kids, they need to, like, their parents need to teach them in the house. Have we not forgotten that we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of kids in the foster system? Those are still our people.
Well, you know, I'm gonna tell you.
70s, it was about everybody helping each other, and we had less. We had less.
True. Yeah, I always say that we've done more with less than these kids are doing, or just society in full is doing more with everything at their fingertips.
Right.
And that's another thing, you know, we are sometimes we are our own oppressors. We have no excuses.
Oh,
It's
elaborate.
just that simple.
What do you think about that? Elaborate. That's a good point.
It's just that simple. You know, that's along the lines of the quote. What's the quote? If you're comfortable with my oppression, then you are my oppressor. But if it's coming from my own people, then that's an implosion as well. So
Wow.
And I like what you said, Bruce. The problem is that a lot of our people suffer from post traumatic slave syndrome. And that post traumatic slave syndrome, and people try to say, you know, Willie Lynch wasn't real because that river at the time wasn't called the James River. Well, I'll tell you one thing, whether you got that same nomenclature or not, the psychosis is real. When you pit the tall one against the small one, you pit the big one against the skinny one, or the light against the dark, and then, you know, they take on the attributes and the attitudes of the oppressor, and they look at you and you can't be acting too big. They actually fight on the side of white supremacy to ensure that there are no others in our community that are going to rise up and lift up the rest, like the way Lamazik did. Like you say, he was one of a kind, but we got to have more. But even still, we do have more people like that. But we have the gatekeepers that are doing everything in their power to abuse, to misuse, to suppress, to oppress those who show promise and hope and bringing our people up. And these are supposed to be our people. But in their minds, they can't stand to see any progress because they themselves could never make that progress. But they have gotten themselves into positions. Like I said, there's people around who feel like they have a birthright because of what they claim their father did, but they're not even honoring the legacy of their fathers. If their fathers' spirits were around, they would smite them because they're making a mockery of any legacy that they would claim that their father actually left behind.
Right.
So
speaking
we
of
need
them,
to shout those people down.
yeah. So, in speaking of them, I want to bring a point to the discussion that is right now going across the bottom of the screen. We have a school board election coming up next Tuesday, and it is silent. You don't hear anybody talking about this at all. I get people all day sending me flyers for parties, and our kids can't freaking read. And understand when they said that 3% passed here or there, passing is the floor. And numerically, that's like a 60. That's not 90s, 100. They barely got the D, right? And that's the 3%. So everybody else is up underneath that. And no one's talking about the school board election. And not only that, they don't come out to vote. We live in a town where there's 320,000 people that live in the city of Newark right now, plus, right? According to the last census. About 150,000 are registered voters. Every election for school board, maybe 6,000 people come out to vote. 6,000 people. And we're talking about a school district that houses over 40,000 students. Over 40,000 students, and they're all felon. We can safely round off and say the whole city, the kids are felon, Nobody's voting in the school board election. You don't even care who's on the school board for $1 billion budget. They're asking for more money. And I don't know, they're just not coming out to be, involved. So I'm going to let you guys weigh in on what you think about that. But I just want to just read that out loud that, on April the 25th, you guys who are registered, because right at this point it's too late to register, but if you are registered on April the 25th, there's an election taking place. And in that election, you have not one, not two, but 3 votes to cast for somebody who's running, who's going to help our kids. But every single election, the municipal run slate just always wins because people say, well, if I see their face the most, then we should just vote for them. Not realizing that article after article of abuse and academic and educational neglect, corruption, just plagues. I mean, I read one article that talked about what was it? The article talked about the school board members taking trips all over to Honolulu, all of these places just to have meetings. Our kids don't even take trips. You understand that trips help enhance the person, those real life experiences, going somewhere other than just your community and the block. And our kids don't get to do with $1 billion. Well, I need to know with $1 billion, you go on those trips. The lunch sucks. The kids are constantly at the school board meeting talking about how bad the lunches are. They're dealing with issues of racism at a few of the schools. Right now, there are ethics complaints that are lodged against several of the school board members. And might I add, at least 1 or 2 of them with these ethic complaints are still running again on this municipal slate.
So Chilla, so how could the kids not be going on trips after all that Facebook money? And why is that the policy? And that's part of why the kids are failing, because you need experiential learning. You need exposure. I take young people to DC all the time. We are like the only group of young Black people at the National Mall at those free Smithsonian museums. And my kids are older teenagers. Some of them are in college now, and they still want to go and travel with me. And unfortunately, the folks who are in charge don't respect the children enough. But you know why, too? Because those parties are packed. You get those flyers. And they see that the parents are not going to speak up in mass. If 40,000 parents, if a parent for each student would speak up, something would change. But like I said, the parents have to have a desire to wake up, speak up, and know that there's power in number and make demands.
Hey, Sharonda.
Yes.
Forget 40,000. Yes. I'll take 10 parents coming.
At least.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm being fast taxing. I would love to see 10 parents organize and say, you know what? $1 billion is way too much money for our kids to keep matriculating out of a school system with no job skills. You can't read, you can't write cursive, you can't tell time on an analog clock, you have no business skills, you can't even write cursive. $1 billion budget. Most school districts are functioning way less than $1 billion. Not $1 million, $1 billion. As a matter of fact, it's plus.
And still ain't producing no decent results. And that's criminal.
They're asking for more.
From who? And they probably gonna get it. But my thing is, where are the Oprah requests to look at the budget and see exactly what the money is being spent on and hold folks accountable? That's part of citizenship and civics right there.
Well,
because
so some people have done that, in all fairness, just a couple, the activists. And so because the activists, you have maybe 5 women activists, and I'm rounding off, in the city of Newark. And now they're not giving them the Oprah request anymore. They're interfering in that. So again, if you got the same 5 people, women, right, in the city, fighting and championing for these things, these same 5 women are fighting for housing. They're fighting for the illegal evictions, displacement, homeless, police brutality, education. The list goes on and on and on. And those 5 people, and I'm in that number. Sharonda, you're in that number. You know, we were outside Hotel Riviera. We're stretched so thin, but they love to say, "Oh, these teachers don't care." The teachers are the warriors tonight, last night. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, at what part do we say? Because I like to go to the club too. Now, my friend,
I
Bruce,
don't even go. I don't even go to the club, Sheila.
listen. I ain't gonna lie. I love Sister Love house music. Listen. I ain't gonna never front. Bruce DJ for years at Marlowe's. Many of you know him. Excellent DJ, king of house music. Okay, had you on the phone all night. I need to understand why we can't walk and chew bubblegum. That's all I need to understand. If I
Well,
could,
you know why? You know why?
school board meetings, I don't. Yeah, please tell me because I don't.
You know why? Because so for example, I don't go to the club. I used to club a lot when I was a teenager. I used to be at the Zans and had no business down there, but I was at the Zans. I'm partied out because I think some people were so busy acting grown when they were kids, and now they're trying to be kids, and they're trying to relive a youth that they should have had when they were youth. And so now that they don't have nobody over their shoulder telling them to wake up and be an adult and be mature and take care of business, time for work, time for play, they don't care. And nobody's going to hold them accountable. And if it's enough people, like you said, 100, shoot, I say 10,000. Let 10,000 parents ask for an open request and get denied. The problem is that the 5 people that's always on all the same meetings, I'm on the same Zoom links with all the same people, fighting for all the same thing, fighting for these people. And this is one reason why people pollute their community. Because they say, well, they ain't going to do nothing. They ain't going to say nothing. Because if they would say something, they would have said something. But they don't. So they won't. So we're going to do whatever we want. We're going to dump. We're going to pollute. That's why there's so many kids in Newark now with cancer in urban areas, and now it's bad. They got skin rashes. They having kidney problems. All these environmental problems are coming up because you know why? Everybody want to just have a good time. Everybody want to party. If they were at where they were supposed to be and speaking up when they're supposed to be, then these kids wouldn't be getting so sick because there would have to be a change.
Right. What do you think about that?
I'm just thinking about the club situation because I had posted this I posed this situation to one of my partners and said, because like wisdom has hit me now far more than it was then. But if we're at these spots, why can't we more or less challenge these spots to be the open end discussions while we're there? So why not book in a back room and start talk about financing? Book a back room and start talk about other situations as there. We're already there because from the masses they got country clubs. So our thing is basketball games, football games. We flossing in the front row. Okay, cool. But golf tournaments, golf courses, country clubs,
Right.
tennis matches, they're all there. And they're not discussing that game. They're discussing insurance policies. They're discussing real estate situation and ventures. And so my thing is, just like Jesus met them where they were, I think we can do the same thing.
I love that idea, Bruce.
I love that idea. And that's something that we need to execute ASAP.
Yeah, we're already there. So why even go through the extra mile to fight for a spot when it's already there? And
right.
Collectively, without listen, let's be real about it. Without funding, nothing can be done. Fact. There is no open air to what cannot be funded. We can talk about this.
For drinks. They pay for drinks. So that means that somebody with the mic, anybody that got access to the mic has to have wisdom enough to say the things that these people need to hear.
Oh, no doubt about it. Or not just the mic now, because we got some of the people that are there that's just the coolest. Like, take for instance, if there was a DJ, and let's just say we talking about Musique at this particular time where he would have got wiser or whatever, and for him to pull 10 people in the back, I think that would have been easy.
Yeah.
At this particular time, you know what I'm saying? Because
that.
he's even more sought out than the DJ is. The microphone is cool, but the internal mic from the person that speaks volumes. It really does.
Let me tell you, some of the conversations, personal conversations that I had with Musique. At his loft, just everything was just amazing. The wisdom. And I was younger, of course. That was a long time ago, y'all. Y'all know, but definitely he was doing that. And like I said, it depends on who's got the mic. He had the mic, and he was talking the right stuff. But and sometimes it's like everybody has their own mind, and they have the choice. We walking around with computers in our hands. We didn't even have computers in our hands back then. If people don't have the will to try to be better and do better, they're not going to do it on their own. You have to
Again,
lead these
we're
to
going to
water.
hope. Yeah, there you go.
So I
Yeah,
want
and I
to
don't want to say. I just think that the people with the mic got to have the wisdom to feed the people what they need to really eat. Not give them junk food, but give them some vegetables.
good point. Good point. Very good point. So I want to comment on a comment that Yaisha just posted. 10 black parents because Latinos are showing up for theirs. I'm gonna just push back a tiny bit on that and say that I don't think that that's the case. And looking at those scores, those scores are not that much different from the rest of Newark. But I will say this: the leadership for the Latino community is far different from the leadership in the black community. And somebody
Mhm.
said to me the other day, they said, the Latino community do this and that for theirs, and that's not fair because they just let our kids. Such. I said, wait. Y'all vote for representation in office, and that's where accountability comes from. And I feel
Mhm.
like it many times that it's a foreign concept. Like if I say, hey, XYZ needs to happen, and this is why. I will get pushback to say, hey, Shelly, what's going on? You still starting trouble. I'm not laughing. That comment is not funny. It's not about holding accountability. People who we put in office and our tax money pays their salary, six figures to drive around in whatever cars, free gas, perks, trips, all of this. And we can't hold you accountable for the things you're supposed to do. That's crazy. Like it's the mindset for me. And so
Well,
when yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and think about this: the stagnation
Mm,
and the complacency of
mm.
our people. Imagine if this was quote unquote chattel slavery. You can understand why slavery lasted so long, because folks was just like because they had a chance to vote and improve things and change things. They didn't even come out to vote. And some that came out to vote didn't even make a choice that would have been something different, because all of this more of the same and all these factions, it's not helping you. It hasn't helped you. It's not going to help you. It's not concerned about helping you. So people are sitting in a cesspool and sitting in a crappy diaper because they, instead of getting up and cleaning themselves off and trying something different, they'd rather just sit back and like, look at it. It's a mess. Oh, well.
Right.
You like that, Bruce?
That's true.
The face. Yeah. You got it down. You got it down.
It's true.
That's
It's just
very
a
true.
Right,
That's
fact.
right.
very true. And I'm gonna say one other thing too. In terms of I think that fear is a factor. If you look
Yeah,
at Ruby
success.
Bridges, if you look at Ruby Bridges, the little girl who segregated the schools, right? No,
Desegregated.
yeah, no one talks about how her family was attacked. Her mother and her father both lost their jobs. And so when people see me doing the activism that I'm doing and activating the community and they see me losing my job, that doesn't say get involved. That says, uh-oh, I don't want to lose my job. I better not say anything no matter what happens. And that's a very real situation. Bruce, weigh in on that. Bruce,
To what degree is there any sacrifice then?
there
Because
you
at the end of the day, here's my gripe a little bit. Like
go.
I'm 45, 50. I'm actually going to be 55 in October.
Somewhere around there.
So from the 45-year-old to the 50-year-old who has raised their child,
Right.
who has said, and that perfect father detail. I'm not that perfect father. I messed up on my first two, and the last two I kind of got right. But
Yeah.
with that being said, the Jordans and the this and the floss and because often the parent says, you know what, I want to live my life. I want to do what I want to do. You're 18 now. Cool. Now they get into, educational debt or whatever the case may be. And now they're starting from the bottom. So this is my gripe at this situation right now. Because if you honestly ask me, and you said, BJ, check this out. If you died tomorrow, what are your kids getting? I'm gonna tell you, not a thing. They're not even at the first rung in the ladder. They're at the concrete. They're at the solution where the ladder is being held up. Who knows if that's sand or not? So at the end of the day, what do I sacrifice at this particular time to give my granddaughter? Might not, because they say the inheritance is for the children's children. So at the end of the day, what's the sacrifice? So if I don't get the house, the car, or whatever, if it was just made in me, because I always say I'm gonna live to 100, so I got 50 more to go. So with that being said, if it's about sacrifice, then I'm all for it. Like at the end of the day, I got no white picket fence. I'm being like totally transparent. I got no white picket fence. I got no pension coming to me or whatever. So I'm working until I die, and I'm okay with that. To the greater degree of sacrifice, from the innate moment and the innate movement that I know I have to build something. I have to build something, and maybe she can carry it on from a standpoint of growing it. And that's what I don't think nobody, because everybody is living in the now. They want to turn up now, and turn up is tumultuous. It's just ridiculous at this point.
Right.
But at the same time, it's that feel good. It's that temporary feel good that everybody wants or whatever. And, challenge everybody else to do the good or whatever. So I'm going to do what I can with I'm going to look out for me. And there's no sacrificial
Me and
order.
mine.
There's no sacrifice. That's what me and mine. No, just me.
Hate it.
Just me. And then me and mine just sounds good.
Yeah, me and mine sound good. That's right. He's right, because those numbers at the voting polls for the school board election, the numbers that come to school, people don't even pick up the pocketbooks, the report cards anymore. You're lucky if you got 4 parents to come in to pick up a report card. On parent teachers night, you're lucky if you got a school that the parents are like really pushing in. And my thing is like, and we're gonna start to land this plane. I'm gonna let you guys get your last thoughts here. Again, we're talking about how to prepare our children at home, so that the school system can't fail them, because clearly that's what's going on. So if you guys could just lend some thoughts to that, what are some solutions we want to be?
Let me add to Bruce. What you said was so interesting, and as Black people, we are not a monolith, because I come from generations of Black people who thought about me, who made the sacrifices, who got the college. I'm 4th generation college graduate. Both of my parents graduated from college.
Oh,
wow. I come from homeowners, business owners. My grandfather's brothers and my grandmother's brothers and sisters and everybody own businesses. They own houses. My mother's my landlord. You know what I mean? So when you say, what do we have to give to our children? My daughter is going to inherit so much from me. She's going to inherit so much from my mother. I'm going to be inheriting from my grandmothers. A lot of us got land that we don't even know about, because we didn't even talk enough to people. We got heirs property. And the difference is, how do we continue to create this generationally? We shouldn't keep starting over every generation. I'm grateful that my family ain't starting over every generation, but we have to teach more of our people, those of us who know and who have been blessed to stop that enslavement curse many generations ago. We have to show others, stop this. We got to stop the bleeding, and we have to ensure.
You're making some good points, but like I said, like the parents who have their kids generationally in college, they're good. That's not our masses, and we need some real solutions, some real tangible.
I just said we got to show them. That's why I do the work that I do. That's why I work with young people, because we have to teach and show others.
Rhonda, this is what I need you to talk to. Listen, I agree with you. I see where you're going. I heard what you said. We have to show them. But how do we show them? How do we communicate? Like tonight, right? We're doing this show. I see you going hard. You always doing shows. You on virtual. You on the ground. You literally got the kids in the street, teaching them hands-on what sustainability is, right? I see you doing it. I see you. But this is what I'm saying. We can do all of this stuff and still not be seen. because the interest is not there. People see what they're interested in. Like I ain't never seen a flyer for $2 Tuesdays at Marlowe's, and this stay packed. I,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
rarely ever see a flyer for any event. I for one, I don't know how many times I looked on social media and said, wow, they had that downtown last night. I didn't even know. You know why? Because I'm looking at stuff like this. They're not looking at stuff like this. And what will happen is, like I said, this election, I'm going to put this ticker back up here again. This election is going to take place in a week. In a week from tomorrow, there's going to be so many people. Sheila, who I vote for? Why don't you know? Why
Did you
don't you
send them the
know?
debate? And
No,
where's the fact sheet?
I misspoke, and I do that sometimes when I'm tired at the end of the evening. My bad. It's not a debate. The election is taking place. The school board election is taking place on this Tuesday. This not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. And people don't know who's running. People don't know what they stand for. And again, it's because the interest isn't there. You know where the party is. And my thing is, again, I'm not really trying to beat people down for partying because they'll say, oh, I've seen Sheila at the party too. And they try to critique me. Yes, I want to part. I'm going for the party, like for sure. I'm definitely going to be up in it. Yeah, but I walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. And
Mm.
sometimes I'm not at the party, right? Sometimes I'm reading. Matter of fact, most times I'm reading. I work really hard because I want to see what has been done in the past that can be done now, replicated to help people. And I'm telling you, I just really think that people need to pay attention. And again, Sharonda, I'm gonna come back to you at the end for closing comments. Bruce, any suggestions or solutions that you can offer? And again, I want to ask both of you to please consider bringing you back for next week because I think we only scratched the surface of this conversation.
Absolutely, I'm there.
So, Bruce, what just for this evening, what would you what are some solutions that you would like, this is our age group right now. We're on the stage. It's not no Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. It's us.
Mhm.
It's
I
us
just
here.
think I just think it's we have to pay attention to our own energy. Our own energy speaks volumes. Me, when I walk into a room, I can talk with anyone. And I know for a fact that walking somewhere, um, as opposed to 10 years ago, if I had that platform, I would use it wisely and I would use it according to my wisdom now. But my energy to me opens up a room. It's just that simple and it starts there. But at the same time, I'm also cognizant and conscious and know that at the end of the day, it's going to take one bite at a time to eat this elephant. So my patience is the virtue. My patience, I'm proper in my patience. So at the end of the day, it starts with one person, and at the end of the day, we just got to keep it moving. We just
I
we
love
just
that.
have to keep it moving.
Great,
So with
great.
that being said, it starts with stuff like this. It starts with that action. It starts with a little bit of everything. But as long as you have that synergy as well, but as long as you have that start, that initial energy, because nothing can break me. I'm not going the negative route for no one. It's just
Right.
that simple. Now, if it's a pack that you got a problem, like I'm not one of those people that's going to say cut this person off or whatever, because I'm conscious enough again that I don't want to burn bridges. But at the same time, a wise dude, one of my boys, Kyle Small, said to me, I called him. I said, "Hey, Kyle, check this out, man. I called you." He said, "BJ, that don't mean I had to pick up."
Oh,
He sent me the voicemail. Now, the average person is going to have an attitude or whatever, but at the same time, he just let me know that he needs to reboot too.
okay.
So
Okay. So
there's the obligation and all of that. I know we short for time, but anyway, my energy speaks volumes.
listen, it's 9:01. Listen again, Bruce. If you can squeeze in your schedule to come back with us on this time next week, let us know. We'd love to have you back on
To
Wednesday.
the
Sharonda,
robot.
Sharonda, some last solutions or suggestions to the audience. Until next week.
Okay, so real quick, this is why I work with my young people, ages 14 to 26. I know that whatever I teach them, whatever I show them, they take it home and they influence their households. I had young people going and snatching food containers out of their parents' hands saying, look at all these calories, that's why you fat. Look at all these chemicals. So I know that that's where we can make the impact. And sometimes people say teach the parents to teach the kids. No, I teach the kids so they can teach the parents.
Say that one more time. Let me get that.
I teach the kids so they can go home and teach the parents. Boom.
And I agree with both of you.
I agree with that.
The parents, we teach our community, we teach each other, and together we work together and we save these kids in our community. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Town, a 14-year-old boy with a record of drug arrests was shot and killed. It was the 10th fatal shooting or stabbing in Newark in 10 days.
Another deadly shooting investigation is underway tonight in Newark. This comes after a wave of violence.
First, let me introduce y'all to the mayor, and I'm saying mayor because that's what it is. Some call me Sheila or Silver Bullet, just know I'm all about handling biz. First, we're gonna start by saving the kids, making the city a safe place to live. Unlike some people, that's all about self. My only mission right now is to give. And now it's feeling like Resident Evil with all of these fake political leaders. They need to go sit in the bleachers and just stay motivational speakers. Being the mayor is not for the weak. Got my feet on the ground and I'm out in these streets. You can show me with action, it's not what you speak. Say you for the city ain't beat. Lit the city on fire, we're walking through ashes. Parents are tired of giving you passes. Why are our children not learning in classes? Teach about businesses, real estate taxes. Fighting to keep low income housing. So much corruption, it's astounding. Team North, we can't allow that. And there ain't no way to get around that. Nothing but change when you vote for me. Time to get back where we supposed to be. Open the door, open the door.